All right. Hello, my friends. It's good to be here with you again. So happy to be here to talk with you on this beautiful, wonderful day about collecting evidence and our reticular activating system. Some people just call it the RAS, RAS for short, but we're going to call it reticular activating system. And what is it? And why does it matter? And what does it have to do with being happy? Okay, here it comes. The subconscious mind takes in everything, everything. Our conscious awareness isn't aware of everything. We pick and choose the things that we focus on, things that are important to us, things that matter. And that's where the reticular activating system comes in. It's a real thing, I'm not making it up. It's like a bodyguard that bounces off, keeps the people out of the fun club, things that don't matter, things that would be a distraction, things that would be just too much information and overwhelm, things that don't contribute to what we're trying to do and keep us safe and happy and comfortable. But our subconscious job is to keep us comfortable, help us to be happy and safe. And sometimes that means making us scared or misinformation. It's just missing because the reticular activating system is doing such a great job of keeping out the things that we've kind of decided aren't important to our current purpose. So what we need to do when we want to be happier, but we have a current mindset, a current set of information, if you will, that is being allowed to get into our conscious awareness through that reticular activating system, we need to change the guidelines and tell our bodyguard what we want to have as part of our awareness. Like, yes, I want to believe that I have beautiful eyes. Yes, I want to believe that I can be happy and things are good. And we have to find evidence to show this bodyguard, like, it's okay to let these things in my space. These things are good. There's scary, and then there's two buckets that the information gets processed into. Life-threatening, scary, and that's usually the only bucket that we have. If it gets into that bucket and is qualified as life-threatening, then the reticular activating system is not going to let it participate in our conscious awareness. But if we create and say, okay, there are two buckets. Yes, I feel kind of nervous and scared in both situations, but things that are going to threaten my life are not the same as things that are going to grow me and help me stretch and progress and develop. But they both give me the same anxiety and scary feeling. And so when we set up these two buckets of qualifications, which bucket does it fit in? I'm going to say that it most of the time, most of our things that are scary and kind of not cool are in the is going to help us grow, but we avoid it. And this is why so many times we're like, I know better, I want this new thing, but why won't I just do it? Why do I keep stopping myself and self-sabotage? There we go. Is because our reticular activating system, and there's a lot of other contributing things, but this is one of the main reasons the reticular activating system is doing its job and helping us avoid discomfort and scary, life-threatening kind of things. But we need to teach ourselves in our brain that some things are not going to kill us. Okay, some things, speaking in public, saying hi to someone, apologizing, asking for forgiveness, some things are just scary and they feel like we're going to die, but we won't. And so when we get enough evidence of something being good for us, then our reticular activating system will be like, oh, okay, we want more of that. That's okay. That's good for us. And it will let more of those kinds of things into our conscious awareness. So this is primarily done by repeating. Repetition is like, it has a really big Reputation. Repetition has a big reputation for getting things past the reticular activation system. Wow, that's a fun thing to say. So when we repeat things enough, then we start to believe them because it's been showing up at the doorstep of our subconscious mind often enough that the reticular activating system bodyguard says, oh, you look familiar. Okay, we're looking for you. Come on in. So anyway, I have a story to tell you about some evidence that I have collected. And I started collecting, I want to share the very first day that I realized I was struggling to be happy. Very, very first day that I realized it. And this was a long time ago. And what I did, I had such an experience that it was massively like, there's no way that I could try and convince my reticular activating system that it wasn't important. There was no way to get around it. And so when we have repetition, and then we also have massively moving emotional experiences, a trauma or whatnot. And this is another reason why things get so ingrained in us from trauma, because it's so emotionally moving, and it gets so in like the reticular activating system is like, yeah, we need to remember that was pretty life-threatening and scary. We need to remember all those things and make sure it's in your awareness all the time. And so anyway, we collect some evidence. This is the step for today. We're going to try and collect some evidence. So the reticular activating system will allow more things that we want in our life. So this day, I was in junior high, and it was a bad day. And I have really felt bad. I don't remember why. It was many years ago. I'm like, that was a long time ago. I can't do that much math. But I was in seventh-ish, maybe eighth-ish grade. And I was walking home alone, and there wasn't a friend or a person in sight. I was walking down this main road. It wasn't through the neighborhood. I was kind of decided I wanted to avoid people because I was just sad enough that I couldn't be by other people. I was looking down at the ground, and I remember the sidewalk, and it had like different pieces of asphalt and road bits kind of scattered on the road, on the sidewalk. And I was like, oh, I better be careful. And oh, look, that's an interesting rock. But I was just really sad. And I was thinking about how I didn't have any friends and nobody cared. Like nobody even knew that I wasn't happy. And I was thinking about another tangent about how people don't know things and we need to communicate, but that's another story. So I'm looking at the road, I'm walking down the street. I'm alone. There's no other houses nearby. There's like a field on one side. It wasn't a very developed neighborhood yet. And I'm just sad and really, really sad and alone. And I guess one of my gifts, we'll talk about gifts more later, that everybody has one. Everybody's got something special about them. And one of my things that I haven't really talked about a whole lot before, so you may not know it, but I hear the word of God in my mind. Like I hear his voice from time to time, not always, but this was the first time that he spoke to me. And you'll know why I know as I tell you the story, how it was his voice. So I'm walking down the hill, and I'm just looking at the ground. And the voice said to me, Lydia, look up. Well, no harm in looking up, right? So I looked up. I didn't question whose voice it was at the time. It's just like, okay, I should look up. If it was something like go jump off a bridge or something, I'd be like, why? Who are you telling me these crazy things? But the voice just said, look up. And so I looked up, and I saw the mountains. I was starting to go down the hill. I was just at the very top of this hill going down the hill. and I saw this beautiful landscape, the mountains, and there was some little bits of snow on the hill, on the mountain, and a cloud, and a bird flying by on the side, and the sun was shining, and it was just beautiful. So pretty. And I thought, wow, that's beautiful. It was like I was having this conversation in my head, and the voice said, yep, I made that for you. God made this world for me and you. And I know not everybody has this blessing and this gift of being able to hear the voice of God. Remind them how amazing and how important you are. So important that this world was created for you. And not everybody believes the same kind of belief system about the higher powers and God and whatever, but this is where I'm coming from. We need to collect some evidence that we're important and that we matter. And this was the first piece of evidence that I remember collecting. God made this world for me. And it's beautiful. And it's on purpose. I am here on purpose for a purpose, and so are you. Let's find some evidence. Look for those blessings. Look for those little, I think that was a miracle to hear the voice of God tell me that he made something for me. And just look up. Stop looking down at your feet. Stop looking inward. Look up and out and see what's out there in the world just waiting for you. There's so much good in the world. We have to look up and find it. We have to find this evidence. And so there's so many good things. So I want you to email me or send me a message on Instagram at Cheerful by Choice Podcast, or the email is Cheerful by Choice Podcast at Gmail. I remembered. Cheerful by Choice Podcast at gmail.com, or Cheerful by Choice on Instagram. Send me a message and let me know what evidence you're finding, how you're collecting it, how this is affecting you, just to find an evidence. And it's like counting your blessings, but there's a little bit more to it. It's not just counting your blessings, which are many. I want you to find the evidence that you're important, that you matter, that you're amazing, that there's good going on for you. Somehow there's something that you can find. Get it repeating in your mind. Put it on a reminder list, hang it on the wall, whatever you got to do to get it past the reticular activating system and say, yes, this is evidence that I matter, that it's okay to try to be happy and you can make a difference. Okay, that's what we got going on today. And I look forward to hearing all of your awesome stuff. So that's why it matters is because you matter. And if you know that you matter, that day changed everything for me. Now, I still struggled. That was 7th, 8th grade, right? But I still struggled. I think that some of us are genetically disposed, or what's the word? Susceptible. We'll say susceptible instead of that other word. We're genetically susceptible to different weaknesses depending on our history and our genetics, right? Some people are very easily addicted to alcohol or different things like that. Other people can have a drink and it doesn't affect them at all. In my family, we are susceptible to depression, and it's a lot of work to avoid and to get out of it. And so this has been, and probably will continue to be, an effort. We have choices to help us be happy. And that day, walking down the hill and hearing the voice of God say, he made this for me, this beautiful, perfect, picturesque moment just for me. has changed the way that I look at things. And now, when I was, we'll tell this story another time, but um, summarize it because we're kind of short on time now. In years later, when I realized that I was still depressed and I was having issues, and my son was dealing with suicidal thoughts, as a reflection, partly because I wasn't dealing with my emotions, it continues. Find some evidence and keep repeating it and reminding that evidence to your reticular activating system so that it can get deeper and deeper ingrained that you matter. You are so important. Okay. So that's one of the hows. What if you come up on one of those things? What if your kid was like mine and having suicidal thoughts? What is one thing that you want them to know to help him get out of it? He needs to know he's so important and so loved and so worthy of being here and all of these good things, right? And that's what we need for us too, so that we can reflect that to them. All right. Have a great day and find some evidence and share with me what it is. I look forward to hearing from you. All right.